Good morning. Today is Monday, the 23rd of February. It's the last, I think, February of the month, and we are just speeding through the year. And I feel like I always say that, but here we are again, speeding through the year. And before you know it, we'll be in April. Skip right over March. March, if you had to pick a month, what is the toughest month, do you think? Probably March is up there for me as for like the toughest month. And I think that's why March Madness happens during March, because there's literally nothing in March. If you had to rank the months, what are the bottom three?
August.
Is bottom?
Yeah.
Wait, August is good times. It's good vibes, immaculate
like
vibes.
The hottest,
Is it the hottest?
stickiest, mosquitoes.
It depends on where you live, though, I think. If you live in like the Gatorland of Florida, maybe. But yeah. August is like you barbecue, you're cooling off a little bit, like you're at the pool kind of with your floaties type of situation. But March is just like abysmal. Like, what do you even do? It's kind of cold. It's kind of not.
March is nice because you're looking forward to spring.
But it's like you're still in it. Whereas in August, you're grasping onto the last moments of summer.
I like December. December 3rd? No, December 4th.
Isn't December like the darkest month of the year?
December 4th is a good day.
12/4?
Yeah.
Whose birthday is that one? Is that Brian's birthday?
Doesn't even know your birthday, man. It's terrible.
Brian doesn't know my birthday.
He does.
What? Everyone knows it's August, man.
29.
Ooh, close.
You're so far.
28.
No.
Just flip the 6.
You're so...
6.
It's not 6.
26.
I knew I didn't like you. Today,
You
we
didn't know December 4th was his birthday?
No, I could guess. I could surmise.
When is Christine Park's birthday?
It's all of March, actually.
She has a birthday month. What about Pastor Paul's birthday?
I couldn't tell you.
May 3rd.
Oh, may the 3rd be with you.
Yeah, I think that's what they say.
November 12th, and then Chuseok's
And then
is...
Pastor Sean.
I don't know. But we were
July.
actually recording on Junseok's birthday. So
We
happy
are.
birthday, Junseok.
Happy belated birthday, Junsuki Bibi.
Yeah, he's it's his big day. So we are recording on a big topic today. But today, Pastor Eugene, we will be talking about the Christian and Israel. There has been a lot of news that's coming out, a lot of opinions and political commentators that have been talking about the Christians' attitude towards Israel, what it should be, what it looks like. And I thought it was an interesting topic to talk about, especially because this is what is in the, I guess, in circulation in our news cycles. And so this morning we were talking about the Christian and Israel, maybe a little hint of dispensationalism, if you will. You are listening to the Dear Church podcast. Welcome to the Dear Church podcast, where we exist to fill your ears and your minds with the study of God to see the world as disciples of Christ. My name is Sam Yang. We have with us Pastor Eugene, Brian, and Junseok as well. And we are recording once again on February the 20th, Junseok's birthday. It's a big day. But I thought for this is actually Junseok's idea. So it's his birthday. We're recording on a topic that was his idea because, and I think he's right. There has been a lot of talk lately, not only amongst Christians, but just in the interwebs, if you will, regarding the U.S.'s policy and attitude towards Israel, and I guess more specifically the Christian attitude towards Israel, especially because dispensationalists love Israel, and that's kind of a big part of their theology. And so I thought maybe we'd take some time and just kind of unpack that together. Talk about, do Christians really have like a nation that we look towards and say, that's God's nation, that's God's country, that's what we have to defend? Is there anything like that, except for Texas, apparently? But is there anything like that? And so I guess that's what we want to unpack this morning. So there has been a lot of movement that has gained both support and backlash concerning Christianity and the nation of Israel. And a lot of it comes from this text. And I've seen this text in terms of why Christians need to support Israel, and it comes from Genesis 12. And this is the verse, and I'll read this for us. This is Genesis 12, verses 2 to 3. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Of course, this is talking about God's blessing and promise to the patriarch Abraham. What's interesting is people have taken this verse to then mean that this is talking about Israel. And even today, as Christians, we need to follow the command of this text in Genesis 12, and we need to also honor and bless Israel. The U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, in an interview with Tucker Carlson, explained that the number one reason why he is a staunch defender of the country of the nation of Israel was, and I quote, "As a Christian growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things." So this is a very dispensationalist type of view in which we see the ancient Israel as we see in biblical times to be the Israel that we see today. So that's kind of just the backdrop of our conversation. How is a Christian supposed to view Israel? Is it morally wrong or right to support Israel? Is it neutral? Where does all of this and dispensationalist theology come from?
Yeah, I think there are ways to interpret Israel in the Bible that we ought to do rightly.
Yeah.
Just like if you saw the Greek word cosmos, you would have to interpret it well.
World.
Yeah, otherwise you might interpret it to mean something that the Bible is not saying. And I get it that, we really want to read things very simply as possible. And so I do agree with that to a good degree, unless what you mean is not simply, let's say, when I say the world, the entire world, right?
Right.
I could mean God's elect when I say cosmos.
Yep. Or you could say
I could mean
people of every nation.
People of
Right.
every nation when I mean cosmos.
Yeah.
Or I could mean the earth.
Sure.
When I say cosmos.
Flooding the earth, the world.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I can mean that, and I could just use one word to mean different things.
Mm-hmm.
And Israel can be like that as well. So it can mean Israel, the nation state that we saw, that was formed by God, and King Saul was put over first as the first king, right? You agree?
Oh, yes. He was taller than everybody else, handsome, from Benjamin, yeah.
He was a head taller than everybody, right?
Which in that time may have meant like 5'5".
I don't think so.
But there were also Nephilim present. So what are we like? Where are we in the time? Like
9.5 feet, probably tall.
So like where are we in terms of like what the average height was during Saul's time, right? Because people got shorter and shorter.
Yeah, maybe he was your height. Maybe he was like 5'10".
Thank you.
5'9.5".
No, I think it was like 0.75.
It could mean the nation state. It could mean the people of Israel, meaning Abraham's descendants, which is what your physical descendants. Okay, which is what Paul references in Romans chapter 9.
Mm-hmm.
And it could mean Abraham's spiritual descendants,
Yep.
which is what Jesus talks about. Who's a true Israel?
The church.
Who's grafted into the true Israel, the true vine. Jesus is the true Israel. And so if you are the true Israel or you're a true Israelite, then that means you've been grafted into Jesus Christ, because he is, the fulfillment. He is the culmination.
Yeah.
He is Israel in that sense.
So if that's the case, then there is a variety of definitions that we can choose from. Is it almost like Genesis 12, the verse that I read, is open to interpretation? Or because this is the background verse that people use to talk about the fact that Israel today should be blessed by the U.S. We need to honor the nation of Israel, because if we don't, then we're going to be cursed. So like, how do we interpret this? Because if that's the case, then absolutely we have to obey God and bless Israel. If it's not the case, then we need to stop doing that, and we need to just look at what this verse actually means.
Yeah, I think we should really think twice about going really just heavily onto one thing when it comes to Israel. there are good things and bad things, and we've talked about this in the past. There are good things and bad things that the nation state Israel currently does.
Yeah.
They are our only ally in the States, for better or for worse, in the Middle East. Although the UAE is coming up there, but the UAE is still not good. And so those are things like that we keep an eye out on in the United States. So for us to have a strong presence in the world, you need a strong presence in the Middle East. And there is no doubt, or there should be no controversy in, the fact that Israel is our greatest ally in the Middle East. I think there's been a lot of anti-Israel stuff going on out
Recently,
there. Like,
yep.
They're all like demonic. Satan is their controller or whatever. So people actually do attribute spiritual elements to the nation state Israel, which is also interesting, right? So if you say, oh, I just want to treat the nation state Israel as a nation state, I want to stop attributing spiritual properties to it, but they're evil. And then you attribute spiritual properties to it, then you're doing the exact same thing that you're accusing pro-Israelite people of doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so just treating them like a nation and treating them like we would treat another ally nation, that's kind of the way I saw it. But I can kind of see why some people would want to attach some spiritual elements to Israel, because the word Israel, or the name Israel, has deep theological significance and very, very long historical roots.
Is Israel a Zer El? God is my helper. Is that what Israel is?
So Israel, it's like Jerusalem.
It's
Like,
Yisrael.
yeah,
Right?
like they don't know exactly where it comes from, but we do know that Israel was first given to Jacob,
Right,
because he wrestled, he contended with God. So some people believe that Israel means one who contends with God, and so you could see it that way as well.
So then you talked about the fact that there may be some people that would attach perhaps some spiritual, attributes to current day Israel. I think oftentimes when it comes to stuff like this, people just want a yes or no. Like, is it true that there are spiritual attachments to the current state of Israel, or is it not true? And so I think with this, people just want yes or no, black or white. Like, are we supposed to treat Israel in any way like the ancient Israel? Like, where does the Christian's relationship to Israel begin and end?
Yeah.
Does it even begin? Like, just saying, hey, you share that same name, you have the Star of David on your flag, that is in relation to my faith, sure. But where does it begin and end?
Yeah, I think we should be like, well, let's consider, instead of giving you the yes or no, I'm giving you a long answer.
That's what I wanted.
Is it, first of all, under Christ, every nation belongs to him now.
Yes.
This is a different era. This is a different time. I hope people will understand that. Is Israel special and significant? I believe so. I believe so because it has historical ties, sure, but also because it is a nation that is now being called and commanded to serve Christ, just like I would say India. So when you go to missions in India, you would say this is a nation that is commanded and called to serve Christ. That's why you preach and proselytize to the nation of India, to the people in India, saying that you have been called to serve Christ. Yes? That's part of evangelism, people will say. But the evangelism is another way of saying it's a proclamation of the good news, right?
Yes.
So you're bringing the good news to them. In the same way, Israel also needs the good news brought to them. And in the same way, India is resistant, I would say Israel is also resistant to the gospel. Now, there are different ways that they can be resistant. So India, Israel, Pakistan, they resist the gospel in different ways.
Sure.
But they're still resistant.
Right.
And so Israel is special because it doesn't resist, let's say, like Pakistan, and it doesn't resist like India. Okay?
Okay.
It resists like Israel. And so Israel has its own way of resisting the gospel.
Are you saying that because it's mostly Judaism? Are you saying
So
are you
modern
using
day
those countries
Judaism,
because
modern day Judaism has a way of resisting the gospel. It's built in its culture, and I think people know this to a good degree. But if you're like Hasidic or if you're very very Orthodox, you don't necessarily like Christians because you Christian is a byword.
right?
And
Oh, those
so
Christians.
I mean, yeah, it's like a curse. It's like how you would say the word Jew now. You could say Jew as a byword as well.
Right.
And so that's how they would say the word Christian. And so let's say someone young in Israel converted to Christianity, the rabbi would call their parents and say, your son has turned into a Christian. And the parents would just weep over the loss of their son. And so even now, if you're a Jew that converts to Christianity, you are like what Jesus said, you cannot follow me without hating your mother and father, brother, and sister. So you have to let go of those family ties if you become a Christian. Not so necessarily here, right? I mean, maybe there are some places, but it's not very broad where you would get, rejected by your family for believing in Christ.
So what you're saying then is, in one sense, Israel is similar to all the other nations in the world in that it is a place that where we have to evangelize. Now, granted, Israel is also different in that the way that they resist the gospel is going to be different from an Islamic state like Saudi Arabia or a Hindu state like India. The way that they resist is different, especially because Judaism and Christianity have the same roots. And so because that's the case, Israel rebels in a different sense. And so it's distinct in that way. But are there any spiritual, I guess, benefits to Israel because of their history?
Yeah.
Is there anything special about Israel that's above and beyond other nations maybe?
We can't just stop there, right? We can't just stop there. We got to go further. And to know that what modern day Jews hold on to is they hold on to the historical roots going all the way back to Moses.
Right.
And so this is also what the Pharisees held on to as well until Jesus came in and corrected them, saying that, you call yourself sons of Abraham, but
These stones could be sons of Abraham.
your sons and your father's the devil. And so, if Jesus says that to you, what are you going to say,
That's tough.
That's tough, right? So, but they hold on to that belief. So if you hold on to that belief that your father is Abraham and you follow the laws of Moses, and then what you have to also see that it is different from, let's say, someone following Hare Krishna or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or someone following Muhammad. It's different.
Is it like the degree of separation kind of?
Well, I'm just saying it's different. I mean, it's just like there are degrees of grace that are just different.
Right. Okay.
And so, I liken it to everybody gets rain, but not at the same amount. So
Mawa
if
gets a lot of rain.
if anybody should know Christ, shouldn't it be the Jews? Because they have this huge heritage that would bring them to that. And this is why Paul does write Romans 9. And so he writes about this, and he goes as far as to say that in Romans 9 verse 3, I wish that I was accursed or cut off from Christ for the sake of my brothers. And he was talking about Israel. He was talking about, that's the Israel. I'm talking about the nation state now. He's not talking about people of Christ, right? He's talking about the nation of Israel. And so, that kind of thing. But he does clarify in verse 6, not everybody who says they're from Israel belong to Israel, or not everybody who's descended from Israel belong to Israel. So he's talking about people who descended from Israel, that kind of thing.
So if that's the case, is that where our relationship as a Christian to the state of Israel begins and ends? Because just simply in the similarities and the beginnings of our faith? Or is there something even more than that in which even in our politics we would give them favor?
Yeah, I would say if you really understood that, God for a time had covered the ears of Israel so that they won't understand, so that this time is so for the Gentiles to be engrafted in, which also the Messianic Jews understand. This is what they also tell me.
Wait, so you're saying that there's people that would take Isaiah 6 and say that it's for a simple amount of time? And then afterwards, Israel will begin hearing again? Is that?
Yeah. So no, Isaiah, Romans 9.
Oh, Romans 9.
Yeah. And so after a while, what they'll do is, their ears might be open to the gospel. I think this is really getting close to John MacArthur's dispensationalism.
Yeah. So so if you're saying that Israel after a little bit will have their ears opened, we're talking about people being grafted in during that time, and then we're going to go back to Israel. Like Israel's going to have a special opportunity almost. Is that?
Yeah, it's almost as if every nation has like its time, and opportunity to believe the gospel. And this is where, dispensationalism kind of takes that understanding of how the gospel is making its way around the world.
Yep.
And now that it's made its way to China, it's almost made its way
back
all the complete around.
Back
and then
to
once
Israel.
it's done,
Yeah.
once it comes around, then we're done. That's when Jesus is coming back. That kind
Right.
of thing. So that's kind of a dispy.
What about Antarctica though?
What?
What about Antarctica though? That's far.
The penguins. But this is something that I think a lot of people, even if we didn't name it dispensationalism, this is what they kind of grew up hearing.
Interestingly enough, a lot of first generation Koreans are dispensationalists.
Yeah, they're dispy to a good degree. Like John MacArthur isn't full dispy. He would call himself a leaky dispensationalist.
Leaky?
Leaky, yeah.
Where is he leaking at? Like which part of?
Like he's not full on dispy. He
Okay.
leaks in some areas. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he doesn't believe that Israel will be saved apart from Christ.
Right.
And so that's a pretty leaky dispy. And so Christ, you still have to believe in Christ.
Yeah.
Right. And so dispies, full-on dispies will believe in dispensations. That means graces that were dispensed according to the era and time.
I see. Okay.
Right. But then, he will say, yes, but it's still subject to Christ. So Christ is the ultimate way to salvation.
So a pure dispensationalist would believe that the Old Testament times grace was dispensed through the sacrificial system.
Yeah.
And now,
like there's different dispensations of grace, right?
right. And then the current dispensation is the grace that's given to us through the sacrifice of Christ.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I'm not a big dispy guy.
I mean, me neither. I think Brian is, but so if that's the case, then right, Brian's not a dispensationalist.
No.
Yeah, I feel like I
That
needed
would
to
be-
say that because normally I would just let
If
it
you
go.
were
but
dispy, you probably couldn't serve here as staff.
what if you were a leaky one?
Probably couldn't serve here as staff.
Dang, John MacArthur couldn't serve here.
He wouldn't want to.
No, I'm saying if John MacArthur
It's also not Presbyterian.
no, I'm just saying
Yeah,
if John,
he's not even a Presbyterian.
I'm just saying if John MacArthur and Vodi Bakum both applied to our church, who would get in?
Who would I get rid of? That's the bigger question.
No.
Like
You can
Sam first.
No, you'd have to get rid of all of us.
Imagine Vodi Bakum was
Yeah.
in that seat right now.
In the seat?
And we're having this
His voice would be
conversation.
deeper, that's for sure, and he would fill out the seat. But if you could hire one of them, who would you hire? That's a great question. Vodi Bakum or John MacArthur? They're both
I don't even know why that's a good question.
because they're both credo.
You can't just say that's a good question and make it a good question.
No, I'm explaining why it is. And they're both awesome. And they're both in heaven. So, okay, if that's the case, right? I mean, we're not dispensationalists, so we don't believe that Israel has some extra opportunity or chance outside or more than any other nation to repent and turn to the gospel. If we are Christians that believe that Israel is simply another nation, is there do they get benefits in our politics? Because I think that's really what's at the root of everyone trying to know, like, why does the U.S. support Israel so much? And people are making it seem like it's a Christian thing. Like, if you're Christian, oh yeah, of course you support Israel. Like, what are you, crazy? You're not going to support Israel? Like, where does that even come from? Because it feels a little dispy. And if we're not dispy, then do we have to support Israel? Can we ever say that Israel is evil?
I think it is a little dispy because every dispensation, there's a role that, let's say, there's a character that plays a primary role,
Okay.
right? Like Moses or David.
You're talking about dispensations?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
Elijah.
Elijah, sure.
He went up in a chariot of fire.
And so, people believe that
He did that.
Israel will play a large role in this era. And then so you should, this is like John Nelson Darby coming, but that's why you want to stand alongside that, not stand against it, because the people that stand against it would be Israel's enemy when
Right.
God is going to use them to be a major figure in this current dispensation or era. And so you wouldn't stand against Israel, you would stand with Israel. So that's I think a lot of people kind of think in that way. The reason why dispensationalism is something that we cannot subscribe to is that there's too much of a distinction. There's too much of a separation between Israel and the church.
Yep.
And so you separate it completely. But the church is the true Israel. This is something that we also have to understand, that God fulfills his promise to Israel all the way to now through the church.
Right.
But then at the same time, this is why it gets confusing. At the same time, the people that are Jewish, the people that, stake a claim in Israel's heritage, they don't have that right now because they don't have Christ. So what you want to do is you want them to have Christ so that they could have that fullness of the heritage completed. So I'll give you an example. So when I was in Israel, I spent some time with Messianic Jews, and they would call me brother, which meant a lot, right? They're like, "Oh, brother, you are our brother,
Right.
in Christ." But they did not expect me to do anything Jewish because I was a Gentile believer. But they did everything Jewish because they were Jewish.
Culturally.
Yeah.
Traditionally.
They would celebrate
Passover.
They would do the things that we talked about in Colossians 2 about holidays and Sabbaths, right?
Okay.
They would keep the Sabbath.
What
and
about
things
Day of
like that.
Atonement?
Yom Kippur?
Yeah.
I'm sure they kept it.
But doesn't that not make sense?
Why?
Because that was done with. Like, it was atoned for. If you're
Oh, you
Messianic.
mean they don't practice sacrifices. They remember, right?
But then it's like, if you believe that Christ was the ultimate payment, why would you still celebrate the Day of Atonement, which was supposed to point to Christ in the first place?
I'm sure they still celebrate Christ through the Day of Atonement, but
Oh, I see.
I think your issue is with the Messianic Jews, not with me.
No, I don't.
You
I
probably
don't have
to ask them.
issues. No, I don't.
Yeah, mad issues.
Wait, no. First of all, this is Junsuck's topic. Just because it's his birthday, he thinks he can just pick topics now.
Yeah, this is Junsuck's birthday boy topic. He wanted to talk about Israel.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so in the end, historically we know that Israel as a nation with borders disappeared after the Roman Empire.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There was no nation of Israel.
Yes.
And so it magically appeared again in 1948 or whatever it was then. And so dispensationalists believe that this is like the dry bones coming to life. God is doing something.
Ezekiel.
So they really believe that once the temple is remade, then the Antichrist will come in and then Jesus will come back again, things like that. So I'm not saying every one of the Dispies believe that. I'm saying this is what I've grown up learning when I went to like
Kona.
Dispy talks. Yeah, a lot of Kona people are Dispy, but
Yeah.
so dispensationalism and reform theology they're at odds. I hope that makes sense, because dividing Israel and the church is an artificial man-made divide. This is something that contradicts teachings like there is no more Jew or Gentile that Paul talks about. It contradicts the teaching that the church fulfills Israel's role, that Jesus Christ is the true Israel. Galatians 6:16, things like that. And so this is not them looking forward to some future Israel land. And so people now, I think the bigger question, can I go on to the bigger question?
Yes, please.
The bigger question is, what do we do with this nation state that is currently Israel?
Yep,
How do we
yep.
see them? right?
That's
So
where I wanted to go, actually.
I do not think that this is the same as the Israel in the Bible. And so they're not the same. Just because, I don't know, I could draw up any old map and be like, this is Israel. That's not true.
But a dispute would say, well, when did that change then?
When was it? So the questions can still remain like, when it wasn't Israel, was it still Israel to you? That
Yeah,
kind of
like
thing.
when did Israel not become Israel?
Once Jesus came in.
Boom.
Anyway, but
Gotti.
But also there's the destruction of the temple.
Yeah.
There's 70 AD. That was a huge moment in Israel's history. Why would God ever allow for that kind of thing to happen and not set it up for another 2,000 plus years unless it already has been fulfilled? And so I get it. There was the first temple and the second temple, but did God wait 2,000 years? And so you could say, oh yeah, he could wait as much as he wants. He could wait 5,000 years if he wants to. Yeah, but to what end? To what end, right?
Yeah.
So what was the purpose of this? And so is it because of Israel's stubbornness? Oh, if it is, what are they being stubborn about, right? So those are questions you got to ask then. So if you are in that camp where you believe Israel is the same Israel in the Bible, the nation state now, then what were they being stubborn from? What we see now is more of a modern day, more progressive dispensationalism, where they mix in Israel theologically, historically, now with geopolitically, and mix that in with eschatology.
Yeah.
So there's all this mixing. So that's what you kind of see now. Reformed theologians do not really believe that, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, Reformed theology doesn't allow for us to really separate the Israel and the church in
Yeah.
that manner.
So then for Reformed Christians, again, I guess this goes back to the big question that you asked. How are we then supposed to view Israel? Again, I think this question comes now, especially because people think that Israel gets special favors from the U.S. Is this what we want? Is this something that we should be voting for? Is this what we should be thinking through even in our own ideology and politics?
Yeah, there's a lot of hatred toward the Jews. That's kind of interesting.
Why is that, though? Also, that question. Why is that?
People hate Jews.
From the promised land, from Jericho and on. Why is that? Even before then, from Egypt and on.
If you really hate Jews, I do not think you can stay Christian.
But again, it's not just Jewish people. It's if you hate any group.
No, I think especially the Jews. I think they are separate. So I think it is easier to hate the Jews because the world hates the Jews, because it's from the Jews that Christ came. I think they are a remnant, sure, but they are a remnant that the world cannot erase because Christ won't be erased. So, give me the Jebusites, give me the Perizzites, gone, done. You know who's still here? Israelites. And so, what's that? What makes them so special? And so, I do believe that if you hate the Jews, then it'll lead you into hating Christ. And I think a lot of people don't put their finger on that connection. I'm hoping they do. If anything, why not have the heart of Paul? Just saying, like, I love the Jews so much, I want them to know Christ. Even if they would continually reject you. Even if they would reject you. Even if they would spit on the cross as they pass by. Like there's some videos of Jewish people like spitting into the church as they pass by in Jerusalem to this day. This is modern day. Because they hate Christians. I get it, So why wouldn't you want those guys to be saved? But instead, there's a special hatred. But let's say, another nation group does it. They spit on the cross. They hate it. You're like, oh, these guys need Jesus so bad. I feel like there's a lot more sympathy that goes to a non-Jew unbeliever than, like a Jewish unbeliever.
But I feel like that might even come from the fact, especially from a Christian perspective, of like, this is like, it's almost as if like your younger brother is doing this. It's like you should know better. Like, the prophecies as we know the prophecies. Like, you should know better. Why are you acting like this?
It would be great if Jewish people believed in Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And so, again, when I met with the Messianic brothers and sisters, I guess, in Jerusalem, it was really a joyous gathering. They were so happy that someone from another nation came, and they treated me like a younger brother spiritually because, you know, in that sense, they took on that mantle of the older brother saying, we have this heritage, but you're in the family, you're in the family. And so we worshiped on Sunday together. We broke bread together. It was pretty awesome. And they were super Jews too. I mean, like the way they dressed and things like that. Not Hasidic. All I'm saying is that they would practice everything like their Jewish counterparts would practice, but they also believe that Jesus fulfilled it all.
Right.
And so they believe all of this is a fulfillment of Christ. So they would say, oh, you don't have to do this, but, we do this because we're Jewish, that kind of thing. But, whether every single Messianic Jew does that, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this one particular group of Messianic Jews did that. And so there are things that I get to see, that I got to experience. And I got to say, it's really a joyous thing to see brothers and sisters of any nation convert. But it's especially beautiful to see Jewish people convert to Christianity. And so I hope people do look forward to that because, this is something that we ought to look forward to. Every nation, every tongue, every tribe. And then so the question always is, why are you giving them special attention? Why are you giving them this, special love? And I believe those are from the Jew haters. I don't know what else to say. You hate the Jews. I don't know why. So when I went to Japan and I felt like, you and I went to Japan.
Yes.
And we really pray that these people would see Jesus.
Yep.
And then we really believe that God loved this nation and its people.
Yes.
That he would want people from this nation. And we celebrated when people from Japanese, descent would convert.
Right.
But no one said boo. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
No one came to us and said, "Hey, you guys love Japan so much. You gotta love the Portuguese. Why don't you love the Portuguese more as much?" What? So people don't say that, right? People don't automatically say that. People don't go to us and be like, you guys should love this nation too. It's like, oh, thank goodness that you've had this heart for the Japans, right? I find that interesting. Could you have a heart for the Jews that are unbelievers and have a deep heart and conviction to see them converted? I hope so. My point is, I hope so. And I hope you don't need a dispute theology to love them like that. I hope that as a Reformed Christian, your heart could really be for the people in the nation state Israel, especially the Jews.
But it almost feels like even in your response now, Israel has some type of special consideration. Like it's as if it's not simply just another country. I mean, granted, it is true that God revealed himself to the Israel nation as his own, and it was through the vehicle of the Israel people that God revealed to us who he is, and we've seen his covenants through the country of Israel. And so I get that, but even now, it seems like Israel is not on the same bar. Is that the case for Reformed Christians?
It's because they do. It's because they are the ones claiming that kind of heritage. I would say, let's take what they're claiming and then show them the fulfillment of it. And look, if you take it so reductively as to say that Israel is same thing as Turkey, that's crazy to me because it doesn't make any sense. Or France, it's not the same.
No.
And just the fact that there is a plot of land, smaller than New York, I think, right? Whatever, Jersey, smaller than Jersey.
Yeah, I think it's skinnier a little bit.
That is in the Middle East, that very similar to the plot of land that was once ancient Israel, and we call it Israel, makes so many people upset. I think that's significant because it points back to the historical roots of Israel. So even if they are not historical Israel, it still points back to it. So I'm saying all these things have a role and a place, and to not notice it is to really be blind to the things that are going on. I just find that, moving on from the historical aspects, I find that the people that hate on Israel, the people that hate on Jews, that caricature them as demons or rats or whatever the case is, their heart isn't for them to be saved. Their heart is to
Right.
put them in this category of
Right.
unsavable demons. And I think that is a sin. I think that needs to be repented of. So if you want them to be saved genuinely, but you're like, they're disgusting people, though I can't, that means you really don't want them to be saved.
Right.
It doesn't matter what nation it is. I don't care if you're disgusted by a certain culture or tradition, whatever it is. Like, the Christian's heart is for them to be saved, for them to repent and turn to Christ. I 100% guarantee you that Jonah was disgusted by the Ninevites. 100% guarantee you. He hated these guys. And yet he was called to go and tell them to repent. After he said that, he didn't even stay in the city.
No, he bounced.
He was like, I'm still so disgusted by them.
He did the bare minimum, maybe even less than that.
So that's the thing. Like, you're not even Jonah, and Jonah was reprimanded.
Yeah.
So you're not even Jonah. You can't even do that, and you're not even going to Israel. You're not even going to bounce. You're not even going to tell them to repent. You're not even going to do what you said was the bare minimum. It's, you want them to die. You want them to fail. You want them to burn. And I think that's a bad heart to have. If there are evil people out there, we call out evil for what it is. I get it. And if you think some Jewish, industry or person or culture is bad, sure, call it out. I don't mind that. Call it out and put it up against the Bible, saying this is wrong, this is evil. That's fine. But also, wanting them to be saved, wanting them to know Christ, I think, is something that you ought to hold on to. Don't let that one go. But like you said, there is a difference between a Jew and a non-Jew, in the sense, in the world we live in today, that they hold on to this heritage, or they claim this heritage that the world takes notice of, and you cannot escape that the heritage that they claim to is, being a part of Yahweh.
And it points to Christ.
Ultimately pointing to Christ, yeah.
So I guess what you're saying then is it's not so reductive. It's a bit more nuanced.
Yeah, I guess I'm tired of people on both sides. I'm not sure of the political aisle in the States now, just ragging on Jewish people. It's the same thing if you would rag on any other nation, state people. I don't know. We would call that racism.
I mean, that is, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah. So then.
Ben?
Then.
Oh, then.
With all the nuances that we just discussed, as a Reformed Christian, where does our relationship with Israel begin and end? Understanding everything that we just talked about, do we support Israel or do we not support Israel? Is that even a good question to ask? Outside of those who are dispensationalists, as a Reformed Christian, do we support Israel or do we not support Israel?
As a nation state, I think you need to use wisdom. That's it. I mean,
Yep.
if you understand, we talk about covenant theology. What is the continuation of the covenant is the church. And then the nation Israel is not. But at the same time, we should want their salvation like any other nation, yeah, but especially the ones claiming heritage to the Old Testament Israel. Obviously, we've divided, right? We believe that Abraham and the prophets, and then it goes to Jesus and the church. That's the continuation.
Yeah.
They believe that it's this other way. So obviously we split, and the split is on Jesus, but we're just asking that they come to Jesus. And when they come to Jesus, then we'll have that same line again. But regarding the modern state of Israel from 1948, Reformed theologians or people that are Reformed do not put any kind of prophetic fulfillment status on it, like the dispensationalists, right? We don't think that all the Jews gathering in one place is like providential. We don't do that. But if you're going to support Israel, it should be political, like anything. Like, do we support Korea? Yeah, because it's political. As long as they benefit us in the East Asia region, South Korea will be a pivotal ally to have, right?
For America.
Yeah, the same thing with Israel. I think you'd be a fool to not see that. But to say, like, we should be Christian Zionists, that's weird to me.
Wait, what is a Christian Zionist? I've been hearing about this a lot.
John Suki was a Christian Zionist.
Zionists are people that are vying for the nation state of Israel, right? So as a Christian, it's pretty much the like the dispensational movement that was birthed out of the Scofield Bible, and
But it's more political?
they're
nature?
actually like
No.
putting in efforts to make that happen.
Oh, I see.
As a Christian.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, because they believe that, although they won't say it, what you're effectively doing is you're making two peoples of God. There are the Israelites, and then there's the people of the church, right? You're separating the two. This is bad. So this is not what we should do. And so, sometimes Israel means the church. Sometimes it means the ethnic Jews. Maybe sometimes it can mean both. It really depends on the context of what we are reading it. And so what we want to do is, when we say Israel, what do we really first mean? It should mean the people of God in Christ. That's
Okay.
what we should really mean.
Yeah.
And then, so when we're talking about, like, say, the ethnic Israelites of modern day Israel, then these are people that really need Jesus Christ too. And my hope and my desire is that people will really also have a heart for the people in Israel to know and believe in Christ.
So our attitude towards the current nation state is that of wisdom. We need wisdom to discern, even on the world political stage, which countries to support, what policies to support, and that requires our wisdom and not simply a blood loyalty or something like that to the country.
Yeah, I think there. So, what really Junsa was trying to get at is there's this huge conspiracy against the Jews now, but where they're all devils and demonic, and what they believe, because they believe in Judaism, that's modern day Judaism is antithetical to Christianity. And so they are just demons. And so I would disagree with that. I don't think that's the case. I think there are some really bad Jews. I think George Soros and Alex Soros are some cases, because they really are terrible people. But there's some good Jews too, I think there's some really good Jews out there, people that win like the Nobel Prize for Physics and things like that. And so we see some really smart people that have really contributed to the betterment of the world. And so I think it's the same as Korea, but not to the extreme. So Korea has some really smart people and some really, really dumb people.
But isn't that anywhere?
I think Koreans especially.
Koreans are really good at short track. Have you been watching the Milano Cortado? What is it? Milano
Cortada
Cortanza?
it's a nice little drink that David makes for me. So when I was in high school, my high school principal told me she hated Koreans.
Wait, that's like a private, like personal thing for her. I don't know if that's like a...
She hated Koreans, and she told me why. She said, "You know why?" It's like, I would love to know why, because she wasn't Korean. She was this white lady. But she hated Koreans because you guys are either in the top of your class or you are dropout gangsters in the high school that I went to.
Is that always the case, though? I don't know if that's
I don't know.
like across the board.
It was especially the case for my high school.
I was extremely middle of the pack, so I don't...
I think now we see a bunch of average Koreans. But yeah, when I was going to high school, and you had to take an entrance exam to get into this high school, and so the kids that got in there obviously had some potential, in the very least. But they could either use it. When they used it, they were at the top of their class, and when they didn't use it or squandered it, they joined, let's say, gangs or something like that. And so, I think, like you said, it could be the case for any kind of group of people. There could be people that excel and people that really detract from society as a whole. But I think that why would the Jews be, anything different than because of their heritage? So they read the Torah. That's definitely given by God, and they follow the Torah. I bet they could excel in so many areas because there's a truth that they hold on to. Let's say that the Hindus do not have, right?
Right.
And so they will excel in certain areas if you have that, because that's the truth of God's word. And so we see that happening. So yeah, I mean, the Jews do have an advantage in that sense. How can anybody say otherwise? But at the same time, they could use that for evil. When, like, the heritage that they have, the wisdom that they have can not come from heaven, but they could come from hell, like it says in James 3. And so those are things that I would say you should keep an eye out on. But to say that every one of them is evil, or to say that every one of them is good, to me, that is a little bit much.
It's a little bit weird for me.
So, like, if you're a Dispi and you love all of them, like, do you think that there's this special, like, angels? Yeah, that's weird. But if you're a modern day Israel hater, you want them all, like, killed
That's
or
just straight
something.
sinful.
That's a sin.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Don't do either.
Yeah, don't do either. Just stay in the middle of the pack. Like me.
I don't know about middle. I'm just saying discern. Have good discernment. If you say to me, "Oh, this is what the Jews did," Pastor Eugene, I'm gonna be like, "The Jews? I mean, what do you mean by that? You mean this dude right here?" And so those are things that people have been sharing with me, and I did have a concern for their spiritual well-being after a while. Yeah, you can't really give yourself into all those deep-seated conspiracies about how this group of people is just straight up demonic or something like that.
Thank you for that, Pastor Eugene. I think it's really helpful because a lot of people have been talking about this. This is on the news. We've been seeing interviews concerning this. And we've just kind of discussed a lot of things that have been happening, not even just recent, but in the past, decades. And so I think this is helpful for us to think about and reflect on, especially this Monday morning as we're driving to work or as we're sitting at home, I guess. Do you ever sit and listen to podcasts, actually? I don't know if podcast is a sit-down activity unless you're driving. Like, I never sit down with a cup of coffee. Let me listen to this podcast. I don't really do that.
I bet you could. I bet you could
No, you
turn on
definitely
your...
could.
What is it that people play? Candy
Walkman.
Crush?
Oh.
Yeah. Did you say Walkman?
Yeah, you turn your Walkman on and you put the...
It's called a Walkman because you walk with it.
Oh, is that what it is? I had the yellow one. There was like a yellow one that I had.
The yellow one meant it. I think it was waterproof or something.
Is that what it was?
Walkman used to be black.
Oh, it was. I didn't know that. And we thank you for listening to this episode of the Dear Church podcast. We hope and pray that this has been a blessing on your ears. Fight the good fight, finish the race, keep the faith. Peace.